Hello, everyone. Welcome to GoTarryn TV. This is Dr. T, PhD, the prodigy of sports psychology, and I'm about to welcome one of my very favorite guests all the way out in Salt Lake City, Utah, Mr. Bob Coursey of Modern Age Employment Law. He'll be joining us here in just a few moments. First, I'd like to ask everyone out there, if you please be so kind as to like this video, leave us a comment, and share it with all of your friends and family out there. Now, you've seen Bob on here before on GoTarryn TV. Not only is he a wonderful employment lawyer, but he's also a great fitness expert, and I love picking his brain and kind of collaborating with him on some of the things that we can do as fitness experts, but also as paying customers when working out with our personal trainers, because he's able to give a great perspective on that. And I'm really interested in speaking to him today and just talking about some of the other entrepreneurial things going on in his life, as well as getting his perspective on how to work out and how to keep motivated, especially during the summer season. So we'll cover all of that here in the next 30 minutes. And I'm so grateful to have our wonderful guest, our favorite guest, Mr. Bob Coursey, all the way out in Salt Lake City, Utah, right here, joining us on GoTarryn TV momentarily. And remember, with GoTarryn Health and Fitness, it's your time, it's your investment, it's your life. We'll be right back.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's hot out here today.
I heard. I was watching footage of, I don't know if you're a hair metal fan, but in Atlanta last night was the first night of the Motley Crue, Def Leppard, Poison, Joan Jett tour. And I was
Cool.
watching footage of it, and people were talking about how excruciatingly hot it was, and then I guess it rained during the night or something. So, but anyway,
That's
yeah.
great. Huh. No, yeah, I didn't know that was going on here. I would have liked to seen that.
Yeah, I'm going to
Pretty
see
cool.
them when they roll through Denver. They're not coming to Salt Lake City, but closest I get is Denver. So taking two of them.
When you and I chatted last month, or actually a couple months ago, you were going to a concert, wasn't it, in Las Vegas?
Yeah. I was going to see the Killers in Las Vegas.
That's right. How was that?
It was awesome. The show is amazing. That's their hometown, so they love playing there. It's a great trip. But that was with my oldest son. He's a big Killers fan. So we had a really good time. Picked up our Bronco, our brand new Bronco, on that same trip from Southern California at a dealership where my wife works. So that's exciting.
Cool.
Also.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very, very cool.
What have you been up to?
Pretty busy.
You've been just keeping busy training people?
Same, yeah, pretty much. Since we last chatted, just training. Nothing's different except for maybe the biggest difference. I was telling some people in fitness and personal training, the biggest difference is definitely not training as many people at the gyms. A lot of times, especially for one here in Atlanta, there's a commercial gym where I've trained a lot of people. That's significantly cut back, and a lot of those people are just asking me to come train them at their house, which actually in some ways is kind of better anyway, because I don't have to pay a rental fee for those clients when they're training. So in a way, it's less overhead for me, and so I get to have a higher profit margin. But the only trade-off obviously is logistics and time, because you can book 4 or 5 back people there at that church, the gym where I see Joel, our mutual friend at. But if I'm going to see, let's say, 4 or 5 of those same people, you got to budget some time to, train them, where most of them live in the Buckhead, Atlanta area. So that works out pretty well. It's convenient. And I actually, to be honest with you, I prefer in-home training rather than doing it at a commercial gym, because in my opinion, for personal trainers, you have an advantage that where you're not as disposable. Whereas in a commercial gym, if that commercial gym decides to close shop one day and your clients are convinced, well, the only effective way we can actually work out is with the big machines and such, then, it kind of screws, I think, the business model. But when I started my business, I was strictly in home. That's all I did. I used to coin myself as the Tarryn, the traveling trainer, and tell people I'll just see you at your home and train you. So I'm kind of going back full circle, it seems like, to that kind of business model. I know you had mentioned possibly doing some personal training, and did you say, Bob, also that you were interested in doing some online personal training at one point?
So there's three things at least that you just put out there that I want to address. We did talk about the online, Taryn.
Yeah, I remember we chatted about that.
I think it was like at the end of our first discussion, or you were like, "Hey, that might be a topic for another day," and
right,
probably still
exactly.
is a topic. Probably still is
Sure.
a topic for another day.
Yeah.
But it's funny. Right after you and I think first talked. Well, I don't know, 2 months or so ago.
Yeah.
A friend of mine. She's really a better friend of my wife's. Her name is I won't say her name. But good friend of my wife's, becoming a friend of mine. She knew that I had a personal training background. She also knows that now that's not my career. I'm a lawyer now, but she feels safe with me and hates gyms, hates personal trainers. No offense. But she was like, "Would you train me?" So lo and behold, I am in a way back to personal training with my one client.
Oh, cool.
But it's been interesting. It's sort of it's just reignited my interest in this. That's never gone away, but it's sort of it reminded me of the excitement of what that's like when somebody entrusts you with their body, you know, which is their health and their life, really.
Yeah.
So that's been sort of cool. What was the other thing that you said? Oh gosh, there's something else that you said that I did want to address, and my brain can only hold two things apparently. But I know what it was. The whole at-home thing. I don't know about you. I used to love. We did talk about this. I used to love going to gyms. I used to love meeting people in gyms.
Yeah.
A gym was like my happy place, and I mean like the big commercial gyms. I do not feel like that anymore. I for a number of reasons. COVID is just one of them. That's not even close. It's not even close to my top of the list. But I actually believe that you can get better workouts if you're a little bit smarter and use either home or a few basic pieces of equipment that you can do in your home, but body weight stuff, nature stuff, just so. To me, I love that, and I think that's probably a trend a lot of people are moving towards for a number of reasons. I think it's probably good for American society's health. I think, because I think you know, we talk about impediments, and I know that's one of the things that you want to talk about today. What keeps people from exercising? I know a huge one is just, hey, I don't care if the gym is 5 minutes away or 30 minutes away. The whole act of standing up, I guess either way you got to stand up off the couch, but getting socially presentable, grabbing your keys, getting in your car, driving, facing traffic, whatever, and then you know you going through the gauntlet of that.
Yeah.
If you can eliminate a lot of that friction, you know, I guess that's the word. If you can eliminate a lot of that friction, because you just start by standing up off the couch and then you're working out, that's awesome. And that's personally, that's what I'm mostly doing for my own health. I don't belong to a gym. Actually, I take that back, and I'll talk about that later. But it's not a classic workout gym. It's a climbing gym that has some other things. Yeah. So anyway, that's a long answer to a specific question, which you know me by now. That's the way I'll always do that.
No, that's very well said. You know, I like you know, that concept, Bob. I agree. You know, and I've heard it from a lot of my clients or other members of the gym where several of my clients during COVID, the gym closed and we just decided, well, let's just meet at the house and train. And ever since the gyms have kind of reopened here, I've broached that subject with my clients because I honestly want them to be the most comfortable. I'm like, I don't care. We could either train here, or we could go back to the gym. They're open now. And several of them have just flat out told me that basically what you just said, that, we save a lot of time, or we don't have to go to the gym. We save a lot of money not having to use fuel and the rising gas prices to get to that gym and back. And just, again, for me, I'm all about wanting my clients to be the happiest and figure out what works for them. But I'm in total agreement with you that you do eliminate a lot of those, barriers and kind of challenges that might be put into place for people of some excuses, why they wouldn't want to work out. And so you talk about if they could work out in their home or in nature, like you said, you go outside. Yeah, it's so endless. There's no limits. It seems like there's so much they can do. Isn't that right?
Yeah, for sure. Let's come back to that. But I want to ask you real quick. So from your business standpoint, I also get what you're saying, which is it'd be nice to just have one place and your clients all come to you. Then they're spending the gas money. They're doing the traveling. You don't have to do that.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, I really think a little bit long-term thinking, the most, how does a personal trainer succeed in business? By the clients succeeding, right? If you can help your clients succeed, they'll either keep paying you or they'll tell other people about it. So really, I think it's probably, you have to just, especially when gas is, I don't know what it is in Atlanta, when gas is $5 and above a gallon, you're probably like, man, do I really want to drive 15, 30-mile round trip for this one client to pay me however much for an hour? But if you think of it in terms of, I am giving my client the best chance to succeed here by bringing it to them, hopefully that's a win-win.
Yeah.
For you, but yeah, these gas prices do suck. As far as places to go, yeah. So like I said, I used to love going to gyms, and my whole life from the age of 20 something to not too long ago, I belonged to some big commercial gym. But several years ago, I just decided I didn't like that, way before COVID, that I felt like there were better ways of exercising that weren't using machines or even all the free weights at gyms. And I have, right here in this closet behind me, and in some other cubbies around here, I have what I consider pretty good home exercise equipment, kettlebells, dumbbells, bands, and a lot of things you don't even need any equipment for, you just body weight.
Yeah, sure.
So I haven't been a part of a gym, and that's how I've enjoyed it really for the last several years. And I really think I mentioned this also in one of our prior talks. COVID has sort of been a good shot in the arm for me personally with my health, because it's forced me to reevaluate a lot of the things I did. And did that. We all get stale, in our exercise routines. But along those lines, one of the crazy things I did several months ago, I guess late 2021, was join it's a climbing gym. It's called The Front. I don't think they're national, but I'm sure you have things like it in Atlanta. And I did it because my oldest son is into climbing, so I wanted to do something social with him.
Cool.
I wouldn't have done it just for that reason, though, because climbing right now, it is not yet enjoyable to me. It is just scary and hard, wall climbing. But this gym is awesome. They also have yoga. They have amazing exercise equipment. They have yoga. They have jujitsu. So it's like I told myself, it's time again. Every few years, it's like I need to shake things up and do things I haven't done before. This is another tangent, but I really believe that 20 or whatever years of doing pretty much the same kind of exercise that I've always done, there's a lot of positives that come from that, obviously, but I think I have some overuse injuries. I'm 52 years old now, and if, doing that stuff for decades the same way, and even having the knowledge of a personal trainer and knowing the right way to do things, still made mistakes, especially early on in my life.
Sure. Yeah.
So I think it's really important to change your exercise routine, and not only is that going to help it hopefully stay more enjoyable and help the motivation, but it's physically healthier too. So what are some things to do? Yeah, obviously there's still the big gyms. If you like the big gyms, join the big gyms. One thing I'm sure you've seen, Taryn, is it's just like there is with hamburgers and beer and so many things. It's like there's these little craft gyms almost like popping up. It's not just the big gyms anymore. It's like a lot of smaller gyms. So you got those options too.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, Taryn, side question, have you thought about doing that, sort of the best of both worlds, where you buy or rent some space, a garage or something like that, and you just do it all from there?
It's funny you asked that, Bob. As I mentioned, the commercial gym I'm at right now, we have a pretty good setup with them where we could just pay them per client. That's our rental fee, so to speak. So it's very minimal. And so I've really liked that, because I think I've been doing that as, maybe 12, 13 years now, where I've relied on being able to train a handful of people there and then have the in-home thing. Now, in terms of just directly answering your question, would I want like my own studio or personal training gym? It's definitely crossed my mind in the past. I've even had some colleagues who have strongly advised me to go that route. But I kind of enjoy the driving around. And I know it sounds kind of weird, but it gets me out so I'm not stuck in the same place all day. And I'm the type that likes to be on the move. And if I've got, say, on average, if I see 8 to 10 people a day and they're sporadically throughout, here in Buckhead, Atlanta, I kind of like that. And I know it sounds weird, especially with what we were just talking about with time and with gas and such. But I know about myself where I would be happiest. And so, you know, I used to be a corporate fitness manager. I did that for 7 years. And being a corporate fitness manager meant just sitting at my desk and maybe training a few people in the gym here and there, but mostly just sitting down and working on administrative tasks and having meetings and having to go to these long, boring meetings. And that's, you know, that job,
All the
that
reasons
style,
you got into being a personal trainer, right?
pretty much. Yeah. You know, that's a good point, because I wanted to avoid all of that, you know, those little nuances that I didn't enjoy or like. And especially in my, I don't know, my profession, I never liked answering to someone else in terms of having a direct superior to tell me what my schedule was going to be and, you know, the way I needed to run my gym and such. So I never enjoyed that. But if I was to be my own boss and owner and have my own studio, it's not out of the question of possibilities. I mean, I'll still have that as an option, that I could go that route. It's just, I don't see that in the next, say, 5-10 years, because on top of personal training, I also am in a part-time adjunct professor online. And so that keeps me pretty busy as well. So I just don't know if I would have the time to really fully invest energies into doing something like that, unless if something drastic happened with my own schedule. But I do commend, you know, those people that do that. If they have, like, oh, for example, last time you and I were chatting, Christy Wiegert, she was on the call with us. She trains all of her people there in her little, you know, personal training studio. She loves it. And, you know, again, all the power to people who could do that. I think that that's great that they can do that, and they have such a wonderful setup. But yeah, I don't know. It's a good question. I mean, let me flip the question around. Is that something that you could ever foresee, you know, as far as still practicing law, having your own law firm? Would you think that you would do and go that endeavor of having a personal training studio, or what's your thoughts on that for yourself?
Oh gosh, that's a very fun road to go down. I am in, I don't know if you can tell, I live in downtown Salt Lake in a condo. I think it's about 1,400 square feet.
Okay.
The space is very limited. When I do my own exercise, I have plenty of floor space. When I trained this recent client, I did it in here, and also I have a pretty good condo gym down the hall.
Oh, cool.
But to answer your question, I would probably have to, not probably, I would have to live an actual house, you know, move or rent space somewhere to do that.
Okay.
And my family, my wife and I, and kids really love living downtown. We sometimes play with the idea of moving to a house and actually having space. I have a little drum set right to my left here too. I would love, gosh, Taryn, I would love to have just a big, my man cave would be like a gym and a music studio combined. And that's heaven to me. I could train clients in there and be as loud as I want with my drums and stuff. So that sounds awesome to me. And I would love, I really, like I said at the beginning of this call, training this one client, really, it brought back to me the good feelings that I remember you can have as a personal trainer. And thankfully, that's the kind of feeling I get almost every day as an employment lawyer, helping people with that. But it was a cool reminder that, hey, this is another part of me also that I do still have an interest in. And it just sort of reignited that little spark. So it's very serendipitous that it's right as I was getting to know you and talk to you. I don't think that's coincidence. I think the universe is doing something there. So yeah, for sure, I would love. I really would. That's a question haven't had the luxury of getting too realistic about, but it's something that does sound really enticing to me in the future.
Yeah, no, that's terrific. Yeah, you know, it's great to have that flexibility if you wanted to go that route, because what you're already now, you know, training one client, you can always build it up and have several more if you want to, and work that around your schedule. And I think that'd be, you know, either way, you're very passionate about it. And I couldn't imagine doing anything myself other than what I'm doing with personal training. And I coming out of this whole pandemic and going back to, you know, the way things hopefully will be, it's definitely good to see that people entrust people like you and me to be able to work with them and do personal training. Because I'll be honest with you, when this first happened about whatever it was 2.5 years ago, about roughly, like, I guess in the spring of 2020, I honestly thought, am I going to have to go look for a job now? Am I going to
Hmm.
have to shut down my personal training brand? And is personal training even going to exist? Thinking that along the lines, because, when it first happened, let's face it, look at how we all how everyone's lives change. Particularly, I always think of the poor restaurant folks, the people who are working in the restaurant business industries. You find all these restaurants that have shut down permanently, or they can't keep staff, or people who just don't want to go out to dine anymore. And running a restaurant, as you know, what do they say? It takes several years just to break even and recoup your investment,
Or
right? And you're lucky if not only if you can survive, much less thrive in that type of industry. I just really feel for those people, because, gosh, having all that overhead and having to figure out, around that, I think they had it the toughest in terms of, professions, because
yeah.
I consider myself lucky. And I guess being an employment lawyer, not only are you fortunate that that's a need that's everybody, are going to definitely need, but your business, I'm assuming, probably went up because of all of the different intricacies that came out of this, no?
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah.
I've now been an employment lawyer 24 years. So when COVID started, it was, whatever, 22-ish.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, 22 years. And those few months, from March of 2020 for the next like 6 months. Well, let's put it this way. I guess from March, April, May, those first 3 months were probably the most intense time I have ever had in my professional career as far as
Oh,
clients
wow.
needing help. And then for the
Wow.
next 3 months, it didn't drop off quite. It dropped off a little over the next several months. The first few months, just incredible, intense. And then, but it's still the lingering effects are still there. So for sure, being an employment lawyer is in a way a recession-proof and economy sort of immune
Yeah.
industry. Not all law is, but employment law, because when things are going great, people are hiring, and there's all the issues that come with that. I mean, we've never had something like COVID, but when everything just shuts down and we're doing mass layoffs and jobs are changing and people are having health issues, people really need employment lawyers. So yeah, that's not been an issue. Um, one quick thought. I'm sure you were very glad in March of 2020 and for several months after that you weren't paying rent or a mortgage on real
Oh, yeah.
estate, right? And not having
Good
anyone
point.
train.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's
like
a
those
very
gyms.
good point.
Yeah, yeah, those. So yeah, you're right. The gyms and the restaurants, those places that had to still pay rent but had no business, no clients at all. That was rough.
Oh, yes. I've heard horror stories. I'm sure you have as well. Just the fitness industry, some of these commercial gyms lost in the tune of millions of dollars. And they were just sitting there with, real estate leasing space and such, where they're not having any revenue generated. And yeah, I saw a lot of mom and pop places go out of business as well,
Mm.
too. So it's
Yeah.
just really interesting. That's just really, really, I like how personal training seems to be kind of bulletproof in that way too. And it's so funny because my business kind of shot up, I would say, in the last year, just because I think what you said earlier, a lot of people, myself included, really reevaluated their own health and their own life. Once COVID happened, they got to step back and see from a different lens or perspective of what they could do to better improve their health. And I found a lot of people like that. People have been reaching out, like new clients especially, have told me how they've put on the extra weight from just being inside and kind of reassessing, what they need to do. And so I think that's very fortunate as well, to be able to have that where people are ready to get serious and want to lose weight and just get into a healthier, lifestyle.
Yeah, and I'm curious, what are you seeing? If you do it, I don't know, percentage wise, what are people mostly coming to you for? I mean, both your existing clients, and I guess they've been probably had some of those for quite a while, but more so
Hmm.
like your new clients, these post-COVID era clients. What are they coming in and saying? Is it mostly again the COVID-15, or is it
Yeah.
other things?
Yeah,
Or
I would say mostly that. And so if some of them say are coming for weight loss, then a lot of times I'll just be working primarily with different core and strength training exercises with them, and then encouraging them to do their own cardio independently on their own when they can. Or even sometimes I have clients who have no motivation to want to do like a, say, power walk on their own. And so they really need like a workout buddy or a partner to be with them and push them through so they can walk. So, which is fine too. I mean, that way, that's great for me because then I get to kind of benefit off of exercising during that hour. So, yeah, I see that it's such a huge need, and I'm only one person, so I can only manage a certain amount and maximize my schedule to where I can take in as many clients. But for sure, I think that definitely there's the need out there, especially here in Atlanta and particularly Buckhead more specifically, where people definitely have that money to budget on spending it on a personal trainer. And so it's just a matter of trying to network and meet those people and connect with them. And yeah, it's just been very, again, good timing, I think, for myself to be able to last this as long and do it for as long as I've been doing it. And yeah, I think that I'm very happy with the way it's set up.
Yeah. And as a still very new business owner myself,
Mm-hmm.
I commend you, and I really admire that you've started something that has for years now, carried on and been successful. So nice job. I have a new appreciation for that as I'm trying to do that myself.
Hey, thank you so much, Bob. When I was teaching at Georgia State University, a lot of my students, most of them who were seniors who were ready to get into the real world, I would tell them it was just really hard work. You can't just start your own personal training brand or your own business. As you can't start a brand and just expect to generate $100,000 revenue right off the bat and just be set for life. And so I would tell these students to really dig down and pay their dues. And I would encourage them, matter of fact, to join a big gym and start as an understudy or an apprentice or an intern and, work their way up. And then as they learn along the way with some seasoning and experience, maybe they could start and build their own brand. I don't know if it's a millennial generation thing. I don't know what it is, but a lot of those students that I had did not want to hear that. When I told them, I advised them, you can go out and maybe get a $40,000, $50,000 job and do that. And they all laughed and snickered and said, "Oh, I didn't finish a 4-year bachelor's degree at Georgia State University to walk into a $50,000 job, Taryn. I want a $100,000 job." I would tell them, like, it's a lot tougher than you think. It's going to be some hard work. And I think a lot of those students are finding that out. They find out once they get in the real world how the real world exists, especially when you're considering a pandemic like we just did. It's not like these companies are wanting to hand out 6-figure jobs to recent graduates from college. Say, here you go, sure, come on, take this position here, we'll give it to you. So I think it's a rude awakening or a wake up call for a lot of those students.
Yeah, I have to laugh a little bit because I hear that, and I don't want. Every generation has its issues. Millennials aren't any worse than any other previous generation, but I do hear in the employment law and HR world a lot of complaining, I guess is the right word, about the younger generations like the millennials. With a lot of it is that mentality of they come in, and the first week on the job, they're looking for a raise and a promotion, and when can I be manager?
Yeah.
And in a way, I've got to say, because my kids are in that age, 3 of my kids are in that age group. And in a way, I admire and love that they're sort of saying, I don't care what the old rules are. We're throwing away the old rules.
Sure.
Hey, the older generation, you guys move aside. We're coming in here and we're going to set up things the way we want to.
Sure.
And I would say, God bless you, generation. Good luck. I hope it works for you. I hope you do, because obviously the world is sort of a messed up place right now with everything that previous generations, including my own, have done.
Yeah.
But it is funny, the seeming unwillingness to have the patience to, as I think you put it, pay your dues.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta put in some time, you gotta learn some stuff, you gotta make mistakes. When you have a service, a 100% service job like a personal trainer or a lawyer, you have to start building a reputation. Why in the world would anybody trust you with their money and their body or their legal work if you, for no reason? Why would that be silly to trust somebody that has no experience?
Right.
So,
Yeah, that's very true, Bob. You're right. It's about building a brand, about building brand value and a reputation. And you're so right about that. It's very, very true. Very well said. And again, I think that what it comes down to, kind of to summarize what we've been talking about on the personal trainer's end, since it is service driven, just like law and your field, it's definitely trying to be the best and give that best customer service experience that you could possibly provide. And on the trainee end or the clients, whether it's your profession or the health and fitness industry or what have you, and it is, you said the word trust. It's that level of trust, whether it's entrusting a personal trainer with your body or entrusting the lawyer with your life and your career, basically, your best interests. And so I think that's very rewarding on both ways. It's very synergistic between, mutually beneficial clients and trainers and lawyers and such. So I see so many parallels with, again, what you do as an employment lawyer and what you're doing as well as a personal trainer. So that's great that a lot of those skills can be transferable of, what you're already doing. So, but it sounds like after talking to you, Bob, yeah, that spark is still ignited. Since we spoke last time, it seems like, again, that seems like to be a great endeavor for you to continue pursuing. So likewise, I commend you for being able to do that.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
And it's exciting. I'm so glad, as I think I said before, that Josh has introduced us. It's really, it is synergistic between you and I and just the way we think and we sort of see the world and having our own businesses. It's been very good for me. Hopefully you're enjoying it, and hopefully if anyone else gets anything out of it, that's awesome. I also know you sort of came in here. We had an idea to talk about things. We've barely scratched the surface on that. So if you want to want to set up another meeting on talk about helping us be motivated and ideas, because I thought of a few different topics that we didn't really get into today. So let's
good point. Let's do that, Bob. Yeah, for sure, because there's so much that we can go off from here and discuss. And you're right. I think that's a great idea to really land on that motivation topic and talk about that next time. But well, before we let you go this time, though, Bob, let's go ahead and please let's plug your contact information, your website, and anything you want, all the tangents of social media. And before we let you go, please.
Thank you. Let's see if I can rattle it all off. So my name is Bob Coursey. My company is Modern Age Employment Law. The website is modernagemploymentlaw.com. My email address is bobcoursey@modernagelaw.com. So website, modernagemploymentlaw.com. Email address, modernagelaw.com. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook and Instagram. I'm not on any of the newer, cooler socials yet. I'm always 3 or 5 years behind on that, but I am on Twitter now. So
I'm right there with you. It's leave it to the millennials for TikTok and Snapchat.
Yeah,
and all
not
the rest
there.
Of them. I'm not either.
Although, and it's every time a new one comes out, I'm like, that's just stupid. No, that's anyone who does that is an idiot. I'm never going to do that. And then, of course, a few years later, I'm on it too.
Yeah, we're almost kind of forced to, aren't we?
Yeah.
Well, Bob, thank you again. I appreciate your time. Like always, this is so much fun. This half hour flew by quick, like it always does with you. And let's do this again next month. And in the meantime, enjoy the summer there in beautiful Salt Lake City, and also enjoy any of the concerts you're going to be able to go to as well, too.
Thanks, Taryn. Always a pleasure. And I don't know if you're a Braves fan, but keep enjoying those amazing Braves doing their thing out there in Atlanta.
Yeah. Maybe they'll do the World Series again this year, just like last year. That'd be something.
Yep. Okay, man. Talk to you later.
All right. Yes, sir. We'll see you. And here comes your contact info right now as we say goodbye. We will see you, Bob.
Excellent. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.